The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Veterans Forum. This is a program coming to you from the Nashua Access Television Studios here in Nashua, New Hampshire. The program is being produced in conjunction with the Library of Congress's Veterans History Project. I'm Bob Stevens, the host and producer of this show, and I've had the honor and the luck and the joy of been doing it now for about 8 years. One of the kids did a count the other day. We've got some 114 shows, each one different, but all to the same cause, giving the guys and gals who served in any war, Korea, Vietnam, Desert Storm, World War II, if they can and will, share those experiences with us here in a televised interview. The program, as such, will then be forwarded back to the Library of Congress for inclusion in their database. I make sure that each guy and gal gets a copy of the show for themselves to, actually, it's my way of saying thank you for representing the rest of the world, because each one of these guys and gals, the bottom line, had a job to do, and most of us did it and did it well. Today, we have another thing, but before we get started, there's something I've just been told a couple of weeks ago. Throughout the state of New Hampshire, there's a special system, phone system, number 211, not 911781, but 211. It's available to any and all veterans who have had at least 6 months service and an honorable discharge. Should you have any problem, or if your friends and family feel you do need some extra help, call that number, 211, and you'll be set up with a cadre of people and services that no matter what you have, by gosh, they can help you. The bottom line, if you can and you should do it, don't be afraid to ask for help, guys, gals. It's there for you specifically, okay? Now today we have another guy. This is the first few that I've had a Korean vet. Now I'm not hanging crepe, but I'm a World War II guy and the Korean guys are fast behind us right now. We're starting to, as they say, depart. Do it. If they don't tell their story, nobody else will. And I can't see that we should lose that history. I'm going to ask Ken to introduce himself, and we'll take it from there. If you will, sir, you're on. If you will, give me your name, spell your last name for the record, where you currently live, Army service, whatever, and your service dates to start.
My name is Kenneth Marrin. I live in Lynn, Massachusetts. I was in the service for 3 years and 3 months, 1 year in Korea. I was discharged in 1956.
Okay, stop right there. You're jumping the gun a little bit. When in time? What's your service dates? 1955?
Oh, I'm sorry. My service date was October 2nd, 1950. I was 18 years old.
Just a kid.
And I was out of the service on December 30th, 1953. 3 years and 3 months because the war had stopped and we were sent home.
Good.
What else would you like to hear?
Well, let's go back now that we know who you are and how you got here. Let's go back and see what made Ken, how he got. For example, where and when were you born? How was your family life before you went in the service? How were you in school? Any of your family members of the military services? That kind of stuff. So we can see what made you.
Okay.
It's your show.
I was born in 1932, January 25th. I had...
Where?
Oh, in Lynn, Massachusetts. I had my mother and father, my sister Phyllis, my brother Hank, and my twin brother Donald. And they were born 4 years after me. I'm sorry, repeat. My brother was born 4 years before me. My sister was born 6 years before me. And I was born before my brother Donald.
Okay.
We lived in Lynn, Massachusetts. And things were not too easy for us because that was around Depression time.
Explain it if you can, not to hang crepe, but so that people understand what was really you. Did you have a job like kids, a paper route or something
Yes,
like that? How were you in
yes.
school? Were you an athlete, star performer in the school play? Or were you an average student, or did you stand out? What's you?
Okay. What I used to do is I used to sell newspapers and shine shoes. And I also sold flowers. And I was about 5 to 6 or 7 to 8 years old. I went to a Catholic school, and I quit school in the 9th grade. Went to work in the shoe shop, and then entered the service. But during that time of being home, all our friends were there, had good times, went out. A lot of dancing back in them days, during Depression especially. And from that point on, I moved into the service. I was only 18 years old, and I did like the service when I first went into it.
Oh? No, any of your family service members, uncles, brothers, father,
Okay.
aunts?
My two brothers, my two brothers and I were both in Korea. We're
Oh,
all
at the
in
same
Korea.
time?
Yep.
Ever get to see him?
I saw my brother Donald, but not my brother Hank, or Henry, I should say.
Oh.
He, in turn, was coming out of Korea when I was going in, and my brother came in after me 4 months after I was there. So all three brothers were in the Korean War.
Oh.
And I had an uncle, but Pat his name was, he was in the Second World War, the B-17 bomber, as a gunner.
Waist gunner, tail gunner?
He was,
Tongue
I
gunner?
believe he was he had to be a waist gunner.
Okay,
Yeah, waist gunner. And he did all right. He survived.
good.
My father was in the CBs.
Good man, I knew
Yeah.
there's something. I loved you, honey.
Yeah. And what they did was, as luck would have it, he was in the CBs for a short time, and then they put him on the Navy Yard in Boston, and working on in the Boston area because they were doing scheduling the troops and the ships and the equipment, all in the Boston Navy Yard.
And
Yeah.
that was his duty station?
Yeah, duty statement. So he made out pretty good.
Rough.
But remember, too, he had 4 children and a wife when he was in the CBs. So they kind of gave him a break, I guess.
No, whatever.
Yep.
Somebody had to do it.
I didn't get that kind of break.
Well,
But is there anything else you'd like me on the...
well, yeah. Was your uncle the reason why you joined the Air Force? Any particular reason? What branch?
Well,
you
I was in the shoe shops working, and the war started in June 25th, which happened to be my birthday.
That was a birthday present, huh?
Yeah, I know. And I was tired of the shoe shops. I thought they were going to be the nuts, but they weren't. You had to work hard. So I thought I'd try the service, so I went to the Marine Corps. In the Marine Corps, you weigh 133 pounds. You're not enough weight. He said, and you're 6 feet tall.
Wow.
So I let that go. Then I went to the Air Force, and I weighed 132, and they took me.
Okay, because the old bit back in World War II, for example, you'd get weighed in, and if you were a little bit shy, somehow the medics would suggest, go home, drink lots of water, and eat lots
have a
of
banana.
bananas. Yeah.
Yeah.
And come back tomorrow real quick, and don't go to the bathroom till you come back.
Right. No,
They'd
I
squeeze
guess
you right in.
Yeah, they didn't like that with me, but I thought the Air Force was nice. So I went in there, and I was 132, and they brought me in, and everybody was around 130.
Okay.
Because we all were in Depression time, at the
Yeah,
Depression.
but it's the same diet, nothing to
Yeah,
eat.
that's right. So I went into the service. There was no problem.
Okay, it's good, right there.
Okay.
Where and when did you go in, and how did you get in? The question we always ask the guys, how was your first couple of days going from civilian to yes or no, sir, GI type? How did you feel?
Went into
how
the
was you
Boston
treated?
Army base, and I was inducted in there at that point, and I was given a physical and passed, and then I was sent into the service. Once I received into the service, I was given the opportunity to take some tests to see what I could do in basic training.
Okay.
And that didn't go over too well.
Why?
because I was not educated enough to be able to.
Okay, dropping out of school, you paid for it then.
That's right. I started to pay for it. It took me a long time to.
Yeah, you pay your dues.
Yes. So they put me in as a. I was put in as a clerk typist, because I had on my application, I was a high school graduate.
Oh?
So they put me in there, started to do, but my brother didn't. My brother had left school too at the 10th grade, 11th grade.
But how did they get it in your record? You didn't sponge something flawless,
Oh,
did you?
no. There was some mistake of some sort.
But in your favor.
In my favor,
Yeah.
but not really, because when I was prepared to go in, my brother said to me, I'm in the cook squadron. I want you to get out of the other squadron and come in with me. So that was my mistake. And I went in and told the officer that I'd like to go with my brother. He was a twin. So being a twin, they had to allow it. So both of us went in at the same time into the
same
cooks.
group? I thought the Sullivan Act said you couldn't do that.
Only if you go across the war.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
we went
learning.
in war. Yeah, I know, just saying. So anyway, we went into the Air Force, into Lackland Air Force Base. We became cooks. And that was not a good move for me, because as a young man, I was a scrapper. So in the cooks, that's what they did a lot, cook squadrons. There was always some problems one way or another. And my brother Donald knew enough to keep his mouth shut.
Oh,
And
always helps.
Yes, and I didn't.
Okay.
So it was one thing or another. But I made a lot of good friends.
Yeah. But now, as a cook, what were you trying to do? Did you serve in the galley, do the
Oh,
preparing
yeah,
of the
I
food?
served not in the galley. I served right in the line, and I was short order cook, whatever type of cooking I had to do. I cooked at nighttime. I did all of that stuff. And the only thing I didn't do was pastry. But everything else I was there to do.
Okay.
And I got pretty good at it. So, but I wanted to get out of the cook squadron. I thought I'd be into the transportation.
All right.
But the commanding officer saw it differently. He said that you have to be in a cook squadron because we've trained you all this time. But the problem was he really wanted me in there because I was causing trouble all the time.
Oh?
So,
Any examples you'd like to share with us now? That, not to put you on the spot.
no, you're not. Well, when we first got into the service, the very first out of basic training into Colorado Springs and into the service, the sergeants in there were in charge naturally, and they had boxing gloves on, boxing gloves.
Yep.
So
lightweights, too.
Yeah, so they asked my brother if he would like to, just spar with them. So my brother got up, he put the gloves on, got out there, and the sergeant beat the hell out of him. And I told him, get him back, Don, get him back. But Donald was afraid of the sergeants. He didn't want to show different.
Yeah,
So
get
sergeant,
reprisal on him.
the arrogance of the sergeant, he walks over, he says, you want to do that? I know that's your brother. Would you like to spar with me? No problem. I says, by all means. So I put the gloves on, and I walked over to him very carefully, slowly, and he got ready. And before he lifted his hands, I beat the hell out of him for 15 to 20 feet. Down he went. And from that point on, in that squadron, at that time, I was marked. Because you don't beat up sergeants. And that was it. So from that point on, I kind of ducked away from everybody as best I could. And then I prepared myself to move to Korea.
No other training as far as marching and guns and all that kind of stuff?
No, only in the basic training you would get that. We were in basic training, I think, about 8 weeks.
Well, what tell me about that? Because a lot of guys had different reactions to
Oh.
first time they ever held a rifle and all that kind of stuff.
The training was, marching and doing all of the different things you were supposed to do as far as left face, the right face, all of that stuff.
Okay.
And you clean all of the quarters in your barracks. We did that all the time.
You had to do the bounce the dime routine of the quarter?
Oh, yes, the quarter. They would take a quarter and they bounce it into the ceiling.
Yeah.
I got picked up for buttons that were not tight enough, so the sergeant would break the buttons off and hand it to me.
Out of uniform.
Yeah, so I would do the button the next day, and it would be so tight you couldn't get around it, so he couldn't get it, and he'd say, okay, you're all right. But the same thing happened with the quarter. You bumped that quarter, and it better come right out of the thing, and it did. Yeah. So I watched that, and I made sure I did all my clothes. I think that's where I started to learn how to dress properly and watch what I was doing.
It takes a knocking 2 or 3 times. All of a sudden, you recognize you're not the first guy down this track.
No, I know it. But I went to the rifle, up under the rifle, I was up to the rifle platoon there, and I had to fire 15 rounds of ammunition, and that's what I did.
What did you use, a Springfield, a carbine?
Oh, no, this here, the M1 carbine.
M1, yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's the one. And anyway, I fired 15 rounds, and that was the end of it. And the man in charge said, you'll never go to combat. That's what he told me. You'll never be in combat.
You can't trust him.
That was a mistake. So as I moved on, I tell you what happened. But the bottom line is that I got out of the basic training. I was okay there, not a problem. After I beat up the sergeant, I had to stay. I had to miss them all. Every time I see them walking down, I would kind of duck around because they did not appreciate me too much. I think they wanted to show me a lesson.
Oh, yeah.
But, of course, they didn't want to do it singly. So they never bothered me from that. But the captain did not like it at all. Did not like it. And he let me know about it, too.
He didn't like you or didn't like the fact they were picking on you?
No, he didn't like the fact that I beat the sergeant up.
Oh.
That's a no-no in the service. You don't beat up non-commissioned officers. But he did that to my brother. But as an example, my brother got away free. I had to beat him, and then I had to duck from that point on. I stayed there for 2 years in Colorado Springs.
As a cook?
As a cook.
Nothing else?
Nope. As a cook, no other training, nothing.
No ASTP or anything like that? I didn't have it?
No.
Okay.
Yep.
Beautiful.
And Colorado Springs was a very, very beautiful place to be situated in. And up to Pikes Peak and all of those places you could visit. It was beautiful. But as a young man, you just want to go other places.
Oh, yeah.
So I asked him if I could be, my brother got transferred out to Perrin Air Force Base. And I asked him if I could be transferred with them.
That's where?
That would be in Texas. Sorry,
okay.
That was in Texas. And it was probably late 1952 in that area. So I stayed there for a short time. And once again, I didn't like it, so I put in for career. But I didn't put in for career. I put in for Japan. And the sergeant says, no problem at all. And I said, in Japan, you won't have to go to career. And the second I got to Japan, I was sent to career.
Immediately, or did you have some time on to getting ready to go? Any combat training?
No training, nothing.
None?
Nope, no training. Because first of all, I was a cook, and I was in the service. I was in the Air Force. So where would the battle be with the Air Force? There's no guns or rifles or anything. You're in a command post. Nothing's there.
There's something called runways, and there's pillboxes on either side.
None of that
snipers.
stuff. Because you're always, those air bases are big.
Yeah.
They're 2, 3, 4 miles, so you'd be way inside. So nothing happened, but then I got transferred to a communication outfit.
Which means what?
Which is
radio signaling?
Radio stations all throughout the career, and it was mountaintops. So I got transferred up. No, before I get into that.
Okay, back up.
Before I get into that, I was walking guard duty one night, and the captain come out, and I couldn't see him, and it was in the fog.
Now, this is in Korea? Or?
In Korea. I was right on the base down below, and he in turn asked me to, he screamed at me. And I said, I didn't see you, Captain. I'm sorry. But I said, I'm marking guard. So he says, he told me that, get out of my sight.
I just like you.
I don't think I got along well with those officers. So anyway, the next morning when I come off duty, he was in the mess hall, and he said to me, I want to know where the juice is. I says, in the refrigerator. So he went out there and he came back. He says, you told me there was none before. I said, that's right, there was. And that's for the little boy that just got burnt with steam. One of our soldiers burnt him by mistake. So I went down to I was always doing everything right away. I went down to the marketplace on the black market and bought orange juice for the kid. Well, the captain said, that juice is mine. He said, it belongs to me. I said, well, I bought it on the black market. He said, everything here belongs to me. And he said, pack your bags. You're going up to the mountainside.
Oh.
That's whatever they started another way. So I didn't appreciate that, but there's nothing much I could do. The boy did survive. He was about 7 years old.
In a cauldron or something like
He got
that?
hit with the jerry can had a cap on it, and somebody tightened the cap, and the steam comes. So when the boy came over and opened up the cap, the steam burned him.
Oh.
And he almost died, but I got him the juice. I was doing other things. I did a lot of things I shouldn't have done in Korea. You know, like going down to the black market and getting
Now,
things.
don't tell me, because you tell me you have to shoot me. I don't want to know about it.
No, oh, no.
I'm a practicing coward.
Yeah, so anyway, the bottom line is that I went up to the top of the
How'd you
mountain
get
top.
there? Truck? Helo?
Truck, yeah, they took a 2.5-ton truck, and the mountains were very dangerous. It was 3,000 feet
Now,
high.
this summer, winter, fall? What's
This
the
was
weather
in the
conditions?
summertime, heading into winter, because I had got into Korea on December of that year, of 1952, and I stayed in Korea all the way up to November. So this was in the middle of the winter, dead winter, and I was sent up to the mountain.
When you got there, what did you do? This is the
First
interesting
thing I
part.
knew, the very first thing that happened to me when I jumped off the truck, all I could see was all of these foxholes and these embankments and barbed wire and everything around the whole thing. I said, ooh, this isn't
Yeah,
right.
this isn't the comic
No.
books anymore.
So I says to the fellow in charge, which is the sergeant, I said, what's all of this? And he said, the Army was here, and this was all done. I said, but the Army was in a communication like we are now. And he says, yes. He says, but there's not a problem right now. He says, you got plenty of time to get yourself back together before. I said, what do you mean back? He says, well, you have to learn how to shoot the rifle.
Oh, okay.
So that's how the book came into play. The next night or the night after, we were attacked by guerrillas. Everybody's running out. There's only 15 of us. Everybody's running out to get into the foxhole, and I said to the sergeant, I'm a cook. I don't know anything about combat. He says, come with me. He gave me the rifle, put me in the foxhole, and he says, lunch is over.
Okay.
That's what he said, and there's the book.
Okay, you give you hand grenades too alongside it?
Pardon me?
You give you any hand grenades too? Three
Oh,
or
no.
four on the
Well,
top?
they did at the beginning. What he said to me, he said, you have to get knowledge of all these weapons. He says, so you got to move fast now because there's only 15 of us, and we need you to be able to fight. So it took about 3 weeks, and I could fire everything.
Okay.
55 grenades, 30 caliber machine guns, everything. And I got pretty good at it. And from that point on, I was on the top of the mountaintop. I'd go down occasionally, but there was a major problem on the site. The site had an outhouse, but it burned down. So we never got anything until spring. So that was months, 2 or 3 months. The water, we had to wash out of a helmet, but only the helmet. You had no other water. So you washed the helmet. You had to wash it carefully. For instance, you would brush your teeth.
Yeah.
That would be one thing. You would wash your face. Then you would maybe do your hands. But the whole bottom line, it had to be in sequence, and you throw it out. They only allowed you a small amount.
Yeah.
Went into the cooking. It was good in the wintertime because it was cold, but it was cold out, but there was a thing in the hill, a box inside of the hill. That's where the food went. So when the summertime came and all melted, it was gone. You couldn't eat it. So we would tell them, need some refrigeration. No refrigeration. Rats were climbing over you all the time. Lice, crabs, whatever you thought of was
They were
there.
there. Okay.
Right, and it was And then, of course, the shooting, too.
Well, now, were you doing the cooking while you're still
Yes.
racing there? That's
The-
in
the
addition to
idea
going
was-
guard duty too?
Oh, yes, and that was the worst. When you're cooking, you do the cooking. When the shooting starts, you do the foxhole.
Yeah.
And then I would march once a week, once a week would be on guard duty, and that was about 100-yard relay site. 15 men, only one man walked the post. And that bothered me more than even the shooting, because it was so quiet, and you had to be all by yourself, and you were down 100 yards
You're at night now?
at nighttime.
Okay.
And you'd had to do that all night long. I mean, 5 or 6 runs on these different places. And because the trucks down there, the oil, all of those things were down further down. You got to go down, and I just couldn't.
Just one guy in the whole?
One man every night. One man.
That
That's
doesn't make
how-
sense. Well, that's not my business.
That's right. It doesn't make sense, but that's how they do. Because those radio relay sites were outcast almost into the mountains. No one even realized that we were up there, other than maybe that site we came from. And that's how we did it. And we stayed in that site for 1 year. And I didn't know until the end of the year that I had the right to request to be transferred, because it was so hard on the soldiers up there, the airmen.
Yeah.
But I never knew. We lost one soldier who was shot in the mouth by one of our own soldiers down in base camp.
Oh,
Yeah, it
friendly
was a
fire, huh?
sergeant. He went crazy and he shot the soldier. He was an AP. 3 soldiers, 3 airmen went off the site they went berserk. They just couldn't take it anymore. And the only reason I made it, because I lived in the hard times. I grew up in hard times, and I was always fighting somebody. So when I got to the top, I was okay.
Yeah, but they gave you an M1 too to make sure that you made
That's
your
right.
point, huh?
That's right. But no one got shot. No one shot at them. But a couple of times they shot into the radio shack, but there was barbed wire and
Oh, was it a shack or a Quonset hut?
Quonset hut.
Okay, because they can
yeah.
make them pretty easy.
Yeah, they can, but it was all built above, just enough on the outside of the shack where you could not shoot through the bottom of it, hit us.
Yeah.
But it was a very bad thing. We lost a water tank. They decided to come up and give us a water tank. After all, we washed it out of a helmet, so they gave us a water tank, and about 3 weeks later, we were coming up the hill, and it started to rain. And 500 gallons in the water tank, couldn't make with the truck. We let it go. We held it down, and it took us right off the mountain. It was about 2,000 feet. So everybody let it go and went down the mountain. So that was the end of our water. What else did they do?
Well, how many times while you were up there? You said about a year? You were never relieved at all?
Oh, yeah, we
Any
could go down.
R&R back and forth?
We could go down maybe every other week.
Okay, one on, one off.
Yeah, that's right. We would go down and get some PX, maybe in the food and so forth, walk around the village
real
down
world.
there, then come back up.
Yeah.
But it was about 15 miles to the bottom of the mountain, then 3,000 feet up. And it was a long, hard walk if you had to go up there.
Well, how's the trucks? They have a road they built up there?
Yeah, they did. They built a road up around the mountain, up and down. And the truck was a 3/4 ton. We had a 3/4 ton, 2.5 ton, and a Jeep.
Okay.
So we were able to get up there, but the truck driver had to be excellent. I could not do it. The truck driver knew exactly how to maneuver that up there.
Yeah, because you go down, it's a long way down. It doesn't hurt, but
Yeah,
they fall at the bottom.
Comes off, it was about 1,000 feet drop.
Now, what kind of personnel do you have up there? You talked about a captain. Do you have any medical guys in the corpsman or anybody like
No
that?
money, no medical up on the hill. They had down in Westego, down in there, the site would be able to go to the hospital down on that site, but we had no hospitalization, no medic, no nothing.
What do you have for armament to protect yourself other than your rifles? Machine gun posts anywhere around?
Yeah, we had machine guns,
Flares,
50
grenades, all
caliber, 30 caliber machine gun, all around the site.
Okay, were you checked out on that?
Yes, I did. But I was a rifleman. I didn't personally like to stand still with a machine gun. And the other, that I didn't like that idea. I like to move.
Okay.
if I had to move. So
BYA.
yeah, so I liked it, and I did it that way, and I did very well. I thought I did for myself.
Yeah, you're
because
here.
Yeah, I am here.
That's the best proof you got, no matter what the hell else you did.
Yeah, and a friend of mine, you become very attached to people when you're on top of that mountain, because it's only you and them, and it was nice. We had a storm one time down the foot of halfway up the mountain, and it was over the 2.5-ton truck, and I walked up that hill and saved their lives. It was 5 of them.
Okay.
And the
Can you
captain,
tell us that story?
Huh?
Tell us the story.
Okay. We were down in the village, and it started to snow. And when it snows in the village, you got to pay attention to the snow because you're on the mountain. So everybody kind of got to their truck back quick, and there was about 6 of us on the site. We come up to the halfway point, and when we got there, the snow was up above the bumper of the truck. So that's pretty high. So we talked about it, and then we decided to send one man up there. And I was picked up, and I said to the guy, "Why do you want me to go?" He says, "Because you're not a very good cook, Ken."
Kill the other guy, but don't kill us, huh?
That's what he said, but he was making a joke about it.
Yeah,
so
ha.
I walked off a bit, and I turned around, and I says, "What are you going to do if I don't make it up there?"
K-rations.
Yeah, and then he looked at me. I said, "If I don't make it, what are you going to do?" And he realized then that he would be dead. So I went up to the whole top of the mountain, got in and talked to him. And I had carried a mail bag with me, and I put it over my head because it was snowing so bad, it blown in your face. So I walked up the mountain with that mail bag, and I think it saved me because it was so cold going up there. And then I sat down, and I started to go to sleep until the snow relieved me from my backside to get back up and walk. And I did. And when I got up there, the odd part about it, you won't believe this one, I got into the Quonset, fell on the floor, and the guys in the Quonset ran over and pulled the mail bag off me and said, "Mail call."
Oh, you delivered the mail, sure.
That's right.
Nothing's going to stop it.
That's right. So,
But, were you challenged at all coming up through the storm when you
it
got
was
there?
about as hard as you could think.
But I mean, someone up there on guard duty should be challenging you coming up the hill.
Oh, no, not at all. But when you march in the snow like that and you're close to the edge, it would be no further than this to that wall. I'm talking maybe 7, 8, 10 feet with that truck.
The width of the road?
Yeah, just a road. That was all it was. So you had to stay close to as much as you could off the road so you wouldn't get. And I marched up there. It took me, I would say, 3 to 4 hours just to climb that area.
Wow.
Yeah. But the snow was so high and blowing in your face that I couldn't even, I kept trying to look and see if I could see the site. And I did after a while. I did spot the top of the thing. Yeah. So I got over there, got it in, got out, got undressed, got a bowl of soup, and then they wanted me to go back down the hill because they wanted me to tell them where the tough spots were as I walked up. And that's what I did. Brought them down, and the guy said, "I knew you could make it, Ken. You were the man."
Okay, but you did it.
But the whole moral of the story is that the captain never said, yes, or anything. Nothing. Just like me, intensely. Yep. Oh, his sergeant told me that the captain was going to come up here and he's going to catch you sleeping on guard duty. That captain wouldn't travel up. He wouldn't travel up that mountain if he had 17 men guarding him. And I said to the fella, "I'm an excellent shot with a .50 caliber, and I will blow him off the hill." And anyway, they left, and that was it. I never did see what happened to them. The captain, I looked in the books to try to get his name, but the point is, it has to be 60 years before you can get any information.
Oh?
Yeah. So what I did is I waited 60 years, and 60 years is now, so I'm going to go looking for him.
Go find him?
Well, I want to give him a can of tomato juice.
Yeah, this is on me.
Incidentally, that boy survived, and we had another boy climb up, and now here's the real story. A little boy, 5 years old, climbed that mountaintop, and it was snowing and not snowing. It was just enough to get into that site because he lost his mother, father, everyone.
So that was his family.
That was his family. So what he did was they brought him up there. They must have brought him up there because he couldn't have done this. But he did, came into the site. One of the airmen adopted him. He's in California now. He's
Oh, he really adopted him?
Yes.
Brought him home?
Yep, and he's gone through college. And
Beautiful.
yep. And his name is, we called him Kim. Kim, and he was a little brat too. Remind me of
Oh, you got
myself.
friendly as all hell with him then.
Yeah, that's right. Reminded me of myself. But he was good. You know, but imagine
Was he a
that.
houseboy?
Yeah, houseboy. But he never did anything. He was
Doesn't have
5
to.
years old and he was running around. But the bottom line, his name was Kim. I got in the book. It's in the book.
All right. We'll talk
Whatever
about
I'm
the book.
telling you here is in that book.
Okay, just for kicks, folks, so you'll know, this is the book that Ken wrote. You can talk to him a bit so that you get an idea, just
Oh,
with your experiences.
9 years ago, I decided to. My daughter, both of them, told me that I talk so much about the Korean War, you should write a book. So I decided to do that. But then, as I wrote the book, I realized that I had to really fill in everything. So I went back to when I was born, and I moved
Like
it
we're
through.
trying to do right now.
Yep, and I did it, and I moved it through, and I went to school. Then I come out of school, I went to the National Guard, and I get kicked out of the National Guard. Not because of my fault. My brother didn't want to march anymore. So what he did was he told the sergeant, he says, I'm only 15. Well, the officer said, you're out too. I said, but I like it. He said, you're only 15. Your brother's 15, so you are too. So he kicked out of the guards.
And this is before you went in the Air Force.
Yeah, this is before I went in the Air Force,
you,
right?
You hop around. I got to get
Yeah,
you
I
back
did.
in.
Oh, no, that was growing up
chronology.
15. I was 15 years old. And then from that point on, I had a good time in my life, I have to honestly say. And I went into the Air Force. Like I said, I went to the Air Force in October. And I got some medals because, well, they can't stop giving you the medals if you earn them.
That's for
They
sure.
have to do that.
Well, let's do this. So right now, if you can, kind of turn a bit to that camera and with your, explain your fruit salad.
Yes,
Please.
there's only one medal that really amounts to anything, and it's the Korean War medal. And that medal tells you that you were in Korea, and the two battle stars show you that you were in battle for 2 different times.
Okay.
And then this one over here is the Presidential Unit Citation
That's
from the
a goodie.
Korean government. That's important. The rest of them are a show. Now, this one here, before the Korean War medal that we have in this government, this was the Korean War medal they gave to me also.
Okay.
So that's kind of essential. This is the National Defense right here. And this is the, what's that one there again? This is the one that gives us in Congress. No,
I don't know the.
yeah, I know you don't know that one. I'm trying to get it myself.
I got this one though.
Yeah, this one was the whole, when the whole nation gets together, all the nations,
Yeah. United Nations.
that's it. This is what this one is.
Again, the Seabees bailed you out.
Yeah. So this one, but like I said, there's only a few. And actually, when you go to war, there's only one medal. Whatever medal it is that you're going in to fight, that's the medal that they put in all of the citations and so
Yep.
forth. And then this is kind of
The
dress
rest is
up.
just being there, if you will.
Right, that's
but
right.
you still had to be there to get them. You
Yes.
can't mail for them. Now,
Yeah.
on your shoulder and your other shoulders.
This is the Veterans Foreign Wars.
Okay.
This hat tells you that I'm post commander of that.
Okay.
And that was in Massachusetts in 1990.
93,
Got to look
94.
myself. 93, 94. So that's
Okay.
20 years ago.
I know.
This uniform is 20 years old.
I hate you. Mine shrunk.
The problem is that when I wore the uniform and then I gained weight, I couldn't wear it. So it sat in the closet for 20 years and then, or maybe less than 20 years. Then I put it back on when I got the post commander.
Oh.
So when I did
Just
that, I had
dress
to
the
dress
fit
it
the
up.
part, huh?
Then the other one is, this is the most important one to me
Sit
too.
there.
5th Air Force, and that's kind of important.
Now, while you were on the top of the mountain, were you guys ever attacked by the Koreans coming down, or the Chinese or anything like that?
No, what had happened is the Chinese came down before I was there. They came down, and they pushed all the way down past Daegu, right into Punsan Harbor.
Yeah.
And then we pushed them back because MacArthur made a sweep around, and he caught him. He was over in Incheon. He made a sweep up Incheon, cut across, stopped them, so they all retired back.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't want to go back to North Korea because they didn't like the North Koreans. So they formed themselves as guerrillas. And that's what they were doing.
The
to
Koreans, if you the nationals.
Right. So they were staying in there.
Okay.
And I don't know how long they survived in there, but it was almost impossible to catch them because they're on top of a mountaintop. And people think just 3,000 feet is that. It doesn't work that way. It goes like this, around. It comes up and down. And by the time you get up there, you've walked, instead of 2 miles, you've walked 5 miles.
Yeah, just to get to that one point.
Right.
Point to point's easy, but to get there, you bust your butt.
I had a very bad down there in the mountaintop one time. I was walking God, and I was all the way down the end of the 100 yards. I don't know why I did that, because that was dangerous to start with. But I thought I saw a mountain lion in the snowbank in the thing. And I looked, I took out my rifle from underneath the poncho quickly, and I walked to see if he was there, and you could just barely see it. So I thought to myself, I must be seeing something. So I went back up, it was snowing, and I told everybody, and they said, yeah.
Yes, okay,
And then come to think about when it got warm, they were firing at this mountain lion running across the other hill, running like hell. And everybody was trying to shoot him, but the problem is the Air Force didn't shoot him in the front. They shot him in the back, and they never hit him.
Oh,
so
they didn't lead him, huh?
No, they didn't lead him. So they could shoot when they're in the foxhole, but they were no. Anyway, the bottom line is that they had to be a mountain lion. That time I was down there walking. And that was about 6 months earlier.
Well, was it big enough to cause you trouble? Had he got a hold of you?
I don't know if he would have or not, but when you're out there alone and it's snowing out a little bit.
You imagine a lot of stuff.
And then you see, and I thought that's true. That's what I was doing. But I'll tell you, the very worst thing that ever happened to me on that mountaintop, and I still remember it to this day. I was sleeping in the cot. My cot was the regular cot, and the rat came in. The rats would come in their cot at night.
Toes?
So I'm laying there, and I thought I heard, I thought the door opened. But then I realized, no, it wouldn't open, because all these fellas had their guns right on their beds, and anybody come in that door was going to be shot. So I said, Jesus, that's not from that door. And just then, a rat came right up to my face, and I could smell him. And that's what bothered me from that time to this.
Wow.
I could smell that rat, and he jumped off and went about his business. And we had that for all the time up there. Couldn't kill them, because we couldn't shoot them because they were too fast.
Oh?
Yeah, they don't stay up there and just put their hands up.
Yeah, cameras.
But I've seen one of the soldiers came on site, one of the Koreans, one of the guerrillas came on site, and I was coming around at night, and I saw him, and what I did, I got so nervous, I couldn't get the gun up. I couldn't get the rifle up. And he got nervous too, and he ran like hell. And I said, whew, got rid of that guy.
Yeah. You never know, though.
Yeah, that's right.
You never know.
So he went up, and I went in and told the boys that, yeah.
Yeah, come on, hero.
Yeah.
Okay, when did you leave the hilltop and come home?
It was in November.
How was the trip back?
Oh, the trip wasn't back. The trip over was very bad. We had a typhoon.
Uh-huh.
And everybody was throwing everything up. And when the typhoon was easing up, they sent us out on ship. They wanted to let us know what was happening, how you could see it. And the waves were, and the fellow next to me, I said to the fellow next to me, you're going to get on that little raft over there, you know, those
Hell
little
no.
thing. He says, I'm going to get on that. I said, no, he says, I'm going to stay. I want to stay and go down with the ship. And I said, I think I'll try that raft, but we never happened. But on the way back, it was beautiful.
How long did it take you to get back? A couple of days, a month?
Oh, no, more than that. It took, I'm saying 12 days, maybe, in that area, maybe longer, because you went from Korea to Seattle. Yeah.
And didn't go down to Hawaii or Pearl?
No, why wouldn't they go? Why would they go to Hawaii?
I don't know. I'm asking.
Well, the reason I'm telling you that is why would they do that?
We
We only
almost a
just
month to get back from Okinawa.
yeah, but we just went back from the war. No, don't take us to a nice place. Send us over there. When I got to
Where'd you come back to? Portland?
Seattle, yeah.
Seattle, yeah.
And I got off there, and I said to the lieutenant in charge, it was always, those lieutenants always knew so much. And I says to him, I thought you were supposed to allow us to go home, being near home. He says, move on. That's a little tough luck. Move on. And I did, and I made some remark, and he got a little excited, but I kind of got away quickly. See, you can't do anything you can never do anything to an officer. Never.
You can if you say, sir.
Yeah, you got to do that. But that's how it was. I got to the base. I got to Lackland
And so you're back down to Texas?
Randolph Field.
Okay.
And I got in there and I walked in and I said, I just found out that I could be discharged out of the service in relation to all the soldiers from Korea. And the guy says, well, it's too late. It's December 30th. You only have one day and it's too late. So I said, no. I said, it should be on time. I'm still here now. And he said, well, the captain's not here. No one's here. And I said, well, what do you want to get somebody else? He says, you can't go. Why don't you go to the chaplain?
Oh,
That was his mistake.
you went to the chaplain.
I said, chaplain, just came back from the war. Lost. Incidentally, I brought back tuberculosis too.
Oh?
Yeah, from the
You should have
Korean
left
War.
it there.
Huh?
A lot of guys brought back that other fellow, arthritis.
Well, I had good food. I don't know why they didn't eat it.
Well, you didn't cook it, did you? Huh?
Yeah, no.
Okay, that may be the answer.
I says to the fellow that fellow that said to me, lunch is over, he was one of the three that had a nervous breakdown.
Oh?
And I tried to talk him into eating the food. I said, I'll cook whatever you want. All I could cook was sea rations. I said, I'll go down off the hill for you. And he said, I don't like your cooking. I couldn't.
When you got back home, did you take advantage of the GI Bill or anything like that?
Oh, yes. I went to, well, that's when I started to
Got
smart
your
up.
GED?
Because you see, I already had
Well,
9
you only
years of
took like
schooling.
3 years, though. So
Yeah.
you're getting there.
Yeah.
But seriously,
So-
a lot. How did you do that?
I got the GE. I went to got the
GED?
GED.
Yeah.
And then I went to 2 years of business school.
Where? Bentley? BU?
No, not Bentley. It was over in Salem. Salem commercial. Yeah.
Okay.
So when I got that there, I also became a disabled veteran because of the tuberculosis. But I got to tell you about that tuberculosis. You better
your
hope
show,
you
Mac.
never want to do that. When I came home from the war, I wasn't feeling too well because I had lost some weight, and it just was something wrong. And it took about, maybe, I'm taking a guess, a year, because they could not find it on my lungs because it was behind a rib.
Oh.
I went down to 100 and, I'm trying to take a guess at this, 126 pounds.
Okay. Almost what you weighed signing in.
Yeah, that's right.
You only lost 5 pounds
Yeah.
in 3 years. That's not bad.
126. I had asthma. I had pneumonia. I couldn't walk up a stair, and I was just about ready to pass on. And they sent me to the Essex Sanatorium. You know what? Oh, you wouldn't know that. That's in Massachusetts. I spent 1 year in the TBA hospital and had lung
There's
surgery.
one in Stoughton that my sister went to years ago.
How's she make out?
She's all right now.
Does she take, what's she take?
I don't know what she takes or took. This is going back 50 years.
Yeah, that's with my time. But anyway, that's what happened to me. And then I came out and I was a disabled veteran. And then I went
Did you join the VFW?
yeah.
Okay.
And that's when I went to work for the Oh, government. Federal government gave me a nice job as a computer programmer analyst. I thought I was very smart coming in with 2 years of business school, and they gave me a little training, and I took that, and I was in charge of 60 people.
Good.
Yep.
When did you get married and have your own crew?
I got married, trying to think, it was 57, I think. It was 1957. And I stayed with her for 13 years, and we got a separation. It seems as though she thought she thought she had the right man, but I wasn't.
Oh.
So, but either was she. So we still do each other together. We talk and meet each other.
How about your family, your kids?
And that was Kathy. She's one, and my son Kenneth is the oldest. Then comes Patty, which is her sister. She's next, and then Kathy, and then Jennifer. And the ages are from 60 years old to in the 50s.
Good.
Right in there.
And they all live close by, so you can get to see them?
Yeah.
That's a big thing, Hill.
The problem is, though, you know what it is when you get old? Because I know you're not old, but I am.
My body is, but I'm not.
They always telling me what to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's that moment when you're no longer, hey, because I'm your father, hey, Dad, get in line. But it's all well intended.
Of course it is. But after a while, Dad, Dad,
right about to here.
Yes, Dad, Dad, you really gotta, you can't do what it is.
Yeah, you can't do what you used to do.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, my grandson called me from Pocatello, Idaho. There is such a place. We found it. That's where they live in now. And he's kind of a smart kid. I love him. And he said, Grandpa, I could tell when people are old like you. I said, you don't need that. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, you ask them a question, and they say, well, once I could, or I used to be able to. And then he dropped this one on me. He said, and besides that, you're no longer a senior citizen. I said, how come? He said, you're over 90, now you're a post-adult.
What's that?
A post-adult. So I'm living on the calendar right now.
Yeah.
Now, do you ever keep track of the guys that you were with? Any of them?
No, I had one man. I was
Any
really
reunion or anything
was
like
a close thing to me. But he was in California, and I wrote him a few letters. But he had died. His name was Billy Pawn, and he was an MP up on top of the hill, mountaintop. And we got him toward the end of the time we were up there, and he had training dogs, those big German police dogs. Mm-hmm. And he asked me if I would stand up and put the thing on. So I said, sure. So I did. So the dog almost bit my damn arm off. But anyway, when I get done, I says to him, how many other guys did this? He said, you were the only dumb one that had the guts.
And the dogs want to say thank you.
Yeah.
They haven't had that exercise for years.
Oh, yeah. But he died of cancer. And we went to, I'll tell you about Japan. Had a nice time in Japan on R&R. But the problem was, when I got the R&R, I happened to be down walking through the village, and the MPs come up and said, "You're not supposed to be here in this zone."
Oh.
So.
This is in Japan now.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, this was Korea.
Korea. Oh.
So
is the battle going on?
No, what had happened? They said, "No, you're not supposed to be in this area. This is all not good people down there." So they put me on myself and this Billy. They put us on KD. 2 weeks of hard labor. However,
For what?
well, I was in a house where there were prostitutions. I was not supposed to be in that area.
Oh, strange.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why you don't have the good conduct.
That's right, one of them.
Okay, don't go there. All right.
So anyway, the bottom line, they put us on thing there, but the plane that we were supposed to take in Japan crashed.
Oh.
Yeah, when taking off, you went in, and there was 124 men. It was a big, died, and we were supposed to be on
Commercial flight?
there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's bad.
So that was not too good. But I went into, but then later on, I don't know, 3 weeks or 4 weeks later, they gave us the thing to go to Japan.
Okay, so you did make out all right.
Yes, we did.
Okay. Let me ask you one question. With all that you've seen and done, or wherever you've been, and all that stuff added together, Would you say that your service experience was positive or negative as far as how you've been able to live your life after that?
I would say that the service that I went through back in them days was probably the best thing that ever happened to me because of not only the excitement, but the way I lived and how I lived thereafter and how I was able to control myself and do things.
So you became responsive and responsible.
Yes, more than that, yes. And even though it was a hard time, I got to say one thing. Those men that were with me had the right to walk off that hill, and they never did. So but like I said, I would not change it.
Okay.
I would go through it.
You'd go through it, but you probably wouldn't want some of the grief.
No, and no.
Okay.
But no, everything went good. I'm pretty good now. I mind my own business.
Oh,
You know.
You still don't get in fights with anybody, though?
No, but I do good right up their face if I have to. You know.
Okay, well, I'm going to be a coward. First the fresh, buddy.
Same to you.
And thank you for your service.
You're right.
And it's been fun doing it.
Okay.
Okay?
You hang in there yourself.
I'm going to try. That's a wrap, folks. But before we go, again, I'd like to remind you that the phone number, please. The number is 211. It'll be the best phone call you'll make in your life if you need the help. Okay? Bob Stevenson saying thank you. Hope you enjoyed the show, but more important, if you have a story to share with us, come on and do it, because it'll give you the best treatment and it'll be something we all will enjoy. It's the best legacy you can give your family. Won't cost you a dime, but it'll be priceless. Again, stay healthy and come and see us. Goodbye.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.